poppin'? What's up, Kwesi?
What's happening? What's really, really good?
How you doing?
Oh man, I'm living between time zones right now. So
Yeah. Where you at? Where you at with it? New
oh,
setup behind you.
yeah. I'm actually in the studio, risky records out in Norway, in Oslo, Norway, right now. It is a vibe out here for real. The European Afrobeat and like Afro hip hop scene is crazy vibrant out here. I got a chance to listen to some artists. Uh they're really talented, and it's crazy. It's crazy to see different people from different like walks of life and like different kinds of um uh places and backgrounds start
Yeah.
spitting. You know what I mean? When they spitting, it's like I have no clue what's being said, but they're actually saying some
Yeah.
stuff in English. But it's like I don't even care. It's swaggy. It's hip hop. So
How's the nightlife?
the nightlife is like short because the nights are like 4 hours, 4 or 5 hours.
Oh yeah.
We actually got a chance to hit this disco. It was like a rave in the forest. So that you drive to the forest, they have this rave, and you dance outside in the dark until the sun rises. And then and it
Then
was
it's
on
over?
yeah, well, no, and then they keep going till it's fully risen and everyone's chilling. Some people camp out there for the night too. So it's the
Oh
first time I
wow.
ever been to like a forest rave. It was a dope experience though. It was like
It sounds like Daybreakers, which they have here, but I feel like because of how late and early the sun sets over there, it's not dark for a long time. Like it's like the sun sets, time, boom, it's up again. Whereas here, it's like it sets for a minute, you know what I'm saying? And then like you party all night and it's dark and you feel the darkness. And then like, you know, that's
yeah.
kind of cool though.
It was funny because it's different when you dancing and you groove or whatever, and it's like it starts. It's like usually you come out the club and it was dark in the club, so you come out and it's daylight, and that's one thing. But if you
Yeah.
already outside, it's a different
Yeah.
type of you start seeing people's faces. You're like, I was dancing with you.
Oh,
This
that's
guy,
funny.
clearly,
That is
yeah.
funny.
No, but it's a vibe out here for real, for real. So I'm super blessed to be out here with meeting some extended family and just vibing out. Also letting them hear my beats and just networking. So it's
Are
gonna
they
be.
all impressed? Were they like, oh, this is dope. We
I
never
mean,
heard something like
yeah,
this.
you know, I've been putting in my work 5 Fridays. I've been listening
You
to
know what I'm
doing my
saying?
stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's good
That's
vibes. So
cool.
what's
Well,
up
look
in
at that.
LA?
We 5 episodes in, and no TV already made it out into Norway. That's dope.
Hey, you already know. It's good.
Man, LA is cool. LA is hot right now. We hot. We in the summertime, moving and
Mm,
grooving, which
mm.
I like. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people where if it's like cold and rainy, like I'm like, oh, I don't want to do anything. I want to stay in the house. When it's like sunny out, I'm trying to get my work done just so I can go and like just go outside, just be outside, whether it's just taking a walk, going on a hike. I really try to do summer Fridays summer Fridays during the summertime. So I'm trying to like make sure that like my work is done, really done by Thursday, so that like by 12, 1 o'clock, if I can close that computer on Friday, I can do it. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying? And I feel too guilty about it. So yeah,
hey.
man, just enjoying the summertime, into a few beach parties, pool parties,
Have you started
uh
roller skating yet?
roller skating. Did I say I was gonna do that?
I'm just putting it
Nah.
on you. I'm putting it on
Oh,
you.
I mean, nah,
I'm
I
implanting it into your head right
nah,
now.
I used to like be able to roller skate like when I was younger, like a kid. Like my mom used to take me and my brother every week to the skating rink and we like learned how to do it. And then I stopped. And like skating is not like riding a bike. You know what I'm saying? Like
It
especially like
really ain't.
when you
It
get
really
older,
ain't.
I feel like that fear of falling on skates is higher for me than the fear of falling. Like on a bike, I don't feel like I'm gonna fall. Like I just
Mm.
don't. I know how to ride a bike. But for skating, man, I just see myself, like, if I'm about to go down, like, I put my hands down, I don't wanna break my wrist, I don't wanna break my nails, I don't wanna break my wrist, I don't wanna break
It's
my face, like, it's just a lot going on that I'm not trying to hurt. But rollerblading, I feel like that's a little easier because, like, all the obviously all the wheels are in a line, so, like, that might be a little
that
more.
actually that might be the best first step. I didn't even really think about the
Yeah,
fact that like to break back into because I've really been wanting to start roller skating again. I hit the roller skating rink up in the V in
yeah.
the Ville. They got a couple and they got a couple in Chino, they got a couple in like the IE. So I hit one in Victorville like a couple months ago and I was so sore the next day. It was crazy.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I was because
Mad muscles activating. You
and
them
I'm trying
hamstrings
not
and the
to fall.
quads.
Woo!
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a lot of engagement of muscles that you do not use just on the regular basis.
The type of look I got from black women looking at me like I was there, I was sitting there like, I'm cool,
You had
I'm
the arm
cool.
movements too.
So I move, and
That
like,
is so funny.
what's wrong with
What's
you?
wrong with you? Bro, I'm
I
just trying to
was,
stay up. I'm trying to stay up.
I was trying to remember. I'm over here trying to be cool. I try to go backwards for a second, like,
Yeah. Looking like you
like
karate
look at
chopping.
the cartoon. That
Yeah, I'm
was
telling you,
crazy.
it's just like it's not like riding a bike. But man, I might have to add that to my summer bucket list. You know what I'm saying?
It's a summer bucket list for
Find you some
real.
roller skates. But
Hey,
yeah, I'm super excited for this week's episode. We got a lot of cool things to talk about, to discuss, update y'all on. So let's hop right into it. What's poppin'? All right, all right. So about what is it, 2 months now? Kendrick Lamar released his fifth studio album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. And as we know, it is his last album under TDE. So Complex did an interview with Punch, who's the CEO of Top Dog Entertainment, and he kind of just talked a lot about working with Kendrick, some of the moves that the label is trying to make down the line. And I just thought that the interview it was very interesting. I really enjoyed reading it. He speaks so highly of a lot of the artists on the label, individually and as a whole. Obviously Kendrick was their marquee artist. But over the years, they developed some really cool talent, SZA, Schoolboy Q, Isaiah Rashad, and then most recently they have Doechii, Ray Vaughn. And so he talked about some of the things that they were looking to do moving forward, which includes expanding into television and film. And then he also hinted at a Top Dog docuseries or film that's in the works, and I'm pretty excited for that. But one of the things that he said, and I'm going to read the quote that he said during the interview, but he was asked, or the interviewer said, Kendrick Lamar is a one of a kind artist. But now that he's leaving the label, is TDE's goal to duplicate his global success with another artist on the roster? And so Punch said, I wouldn't use the word duplicate because that means that it's a certain formula and that gets cookie cutter to me. It's more so what each individual artist wants to do. Everyone doesn't have the same goals and want to accomplish the same things. You've got some where they want to be the biggest star in the world, or you have some where they want to be low key and they want to be able to support their family and do shows. Or you've got some who want to transition into movies. It's so many different things. So it's not a duplication, it's enhancing whatever the individual artist wants to do. And I thought that was a really cool thing to say. And I think that that's what kind of makes TDE. I think one of my favorite labels. They have a lot of artists on that label that I really really enjoy listening to. And that was one thing that I can see that and I can relate to that. You know what I'm saying? For example, Schoolboy Q isn't like the biggest name out there when you know what I'm saying? He's not always in the media. I think he's probably one of those low key artists that they're mentioning that, right? You know the name Schoolboy Q. You know some of his songs. He's got hits. He's got great albums, but he's not like that big name, like headlining artist, and that's okay. And then you have like the Scissors or the Kendrick. who are those bigger names. I think Isaiah Rashad is slowly coming into that bigger name, but also kind of just in that tweener lane. You know what I'm saying? We don't really know where Doechii all the way is gonna fall yet, and I really admire that about TDE in like kind of them allowing their artists to stay true to themselves and not trying to make everybody up here as if that's the only place you're gonna find success.
Mm.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Do you got anything you wanna like add on? Do you agree? Do you disagree?
Yeah, the article's mad interesting, man. I think Punch. I mean, they got. I mean, TD. They got a good perception of how to put something together and put a team together and a roster together and care for the folks and treat folks
Mhm.
like family. And really, it's beyond just the fact of development. It's also understanding how you build your own brand as an artist, how you find your sound. And it's like you gotta pump out 100 records minimum before you can even land on a project that feels like you put in the work. You gotta
Yeah.
have hundreds of songs. Like, that's the type of work ethic that you have to push towards. Like when you think about like Michael Jackson, or you think about like, it's almost in the thousands as far as records are concerned. Like, they're pushing volume and also finding what fits and finding what happens. So like building a girthy amount of work is a part of your like artist development, and you just got to be about it. And it's like they'll look out, like, and there's so many folks that also write. Like, there's so much going. And I feel like I got a nice little view of what happens at TDE, just due to my cousin, my blood
Mhm.
cousin, being over there, and he's a part of the camp, Devin Malik, and he's been close to them for the past 5 years. I've seen his relationship build over in that direction, and they stay very low key. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a they low key doing a lot, like, and a lot of
Yeah.
folks don't really know how TDE is also moving, what they've been planning and putting things together, but they've been consistent. and
Mhm.
and it's like, and once they start dropping and they get on that rollout, once they start pushing their rollout, it's really untouchable. It's like the music is impeccable, the performances are amazing, like the artists are doing amazing things, like. And so we're just looking for another wave. And once that wave breaks through, I'm sure it's going to be a domino effect. You're going to see a lot of really amazing art come out. But I
Yeah.
think it's dope. He also compared them to like like certain eras.
Errors.
Right? They
Yeah.
got like eras of like Death Row, or
I
even
love
Bad
how he
Boy,
did
or
that.
Rockefeller. He's like, look, these are the eras that were like, it's the model of like, or what
Mhm.
can represent what TDE is doing. They're doing it in nice sprints too. So it's a
Yeah.
it takes business prowess to know how to do that the right way with the right type of team. So,
Yeah.
kudos to them, man.
Yeah, and he definitely gave Kendrick his flowers and like big upped him and just, obviously wished him well. And, he mentioned that they were kind of preparing for this, like a lot of fans, I feel like, well, not a lot of fans, but I think some people may have been, if you didn't have your ear to the street, caught by surprise, that this would be Kendrick's last album with TDE. And he was like, nah, this is what we worked towards. This is what we were pushing for. Sometimes people, are scared of change. He said, "We are scared of changes because change represents the unknown."
Mhm.
And, this was the whole purpose. This was what they were working towards. They did the awards, um, touched all the people, did a lot of community stuff, and now it's time to move on and do other things. So kudos to TDE, kudos to Kendrick, Punch. Love what they're doing over there. Excited to see what they got moving forward, especially with this television and film stuff that he's talking about.
Hey,
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it's
right. So next, this one I wasn't as surprised about. Uh, Rolling Loud Miami announced a lineup change. Pretty big headliner dropped out. Surprise, surprise. But yeah, Ye is not going to headline Rolling Loud Miami. And honestly, back before Coachella, when he dropped out of Coachella, I was like, homie's not doing no festivals for the summer. Like he has all these festivals lined up, and like as soon as he dropped out of Coachella, I was like, he's not doing any of these. Like I was honestly mad that people weren't taking him off the bill sooner. to be honest. Like he's not ready. Like he's not there. He don't really, you know what I'm saying? But so apparently it wasn't necessarily that he just like didn't want to do it, but it was also the fact that he wanted to bring Travis Scott up on stage. And I guess the venue wasn't allowing Travis to perform because of everything that happened at Astroworld.
Too
How
soon, man.
long do
Too
you
soon, man.
how long do you think Travis is gonna have this kind of scarlet A on his chest? Because obviously he did the show in London, I think it was not too long ago, and that
Mhm,
I mean I heard it went good.
mhm.
Um, I heard that it was like mad people there. You know, I saw some video. I heard that he did a great job of, I guess, being more aware, and like noticed some fans were like scaling one of, and it's just like, when are we gonna also put some more responsibility on fans too? I don't even want to get all the way into this like this, but like, yeah, he saw some fans scaling like this I don't know thing that was in the crowd that you weren't supposed to sit on, and they were like climbing it and sitting at top, and he like stopped them and stopped the show and told them to get down. um but yeah,
He's
like
like, "Hey, don't be fucking up my shit."
yeah.
So,
And
hey,
so yeah, so the venue didn't allow Rolling Loud didn't allow Travis to perform. So then Kanye was like, "Nah, I'm not doing it." So then they replaced him with Kid Cudi, and a lot of fans are mad because they don't feel as though that was an adequate replacement. They would have preferred a Travis Scott. I also read the name ASAP Cardi or ASAP Rocky. I also read the name Playboy Cardi. So my question for this one is, what do you think? Do you think that festivals should have to honor refunds
mm,
if big names, if headlining names? Because I don't want to sit here and say if anyone drops out, right? If you got a lower
mm,
level person and they drop out, like, you know, but like a headliner drops out, should ticket holders be allowed to request, and should festivals honor refunds? Because to keep it all the way 100, when Ye dropped out of Coachella, I was like, man, I'm trying to sell my ticket. And don't get me
mm,
wrong, I love the weekend. I love the weekend, but I knew he was going on tour. So it was kind of like, I don't need to go to Coachella to see the weekend. I'm already
mm.
seeing him. And I would have loved to get that refund, but it was just like not as easy. Do you think festivals should honor something like that when it's a headliner?
That's a really good question. I mean, I heard about this joint when it was like in the morning. I was taking my morning number two, and it was like scrolling. And I was like, oh wow, yay! I'm like, Ye's too busy, like aiming for a few more billion. He's like, he's got he designing a truck. Like I was like, a Yeezus truck. I'm like, bro, that I don't know why that was not as original. I'm like, yo, the Tesla truck already, but it's okay. Everybody wants to do trucks that look like the Batmobile. Like it's, I guess that's the future. Everyone's gonna be driving electric Batmobiles. But
Yeah.
like, I think there's a lot going on too. And I and maybe it's not just all about that. I think, but Kanye is also one to stand with his team too. Like I feel like if he's like, I'm trying to have the type of artistic expression that I need to have, and if it's like because I have a specific artist that it's like time has passed. I think time has passed, and I think Travis is definitely grown and matured from that it was a devastating situation. And I think but it's like it's not Travis's show, it's Kanye's show. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? And so I feel like the stance of being like, no, he cannot come on stage. Like for some reason, I think uh, that's that could be that's probably a little too intense. In the sense of like, yo, it's not his show. It's just probably like a part of the set. It's a part of the artistic expression. And Rolling Loud it's like 18 and up, right? Or is it like,
yeah.
yeah.
I think it's 18 and up. And then also when you think about Rolling Loud, like it's one of those festivals where it's not like just like Coachella where it's only in LA or Palm Springs or whatever. There's
Mhm.
different louds, right? So there's a Rolling Loud Miami, there's in New York, there's in LA. I want to say there's another one like somewhere up north, but they
North.
all bring different kind of energies too, and they all
Mhm.
bring different kind of like crowds.
Right.
And
Yeah.
The Miami crowd is more of that like hyper crowd that I think would have liked a Travis Scott, would have liked a Playboy Cardi,
Yeah.
would have liked an ASAP, and instead they got like Kid Cudi, who I love Kid Cudi. Like
Yeah, of course.
I would have been super
That's a
excited.
that's a nice audible. I wasn't
Yeah,
mad at that. I was like, okay,
no,
yeah,
but
that's a good.
it just like I said, it just kind of sucks if like you're expecting this one artist and then that artist isn't coming anymore, and then you get someone who maybe you don't really care to see as much, and now you don't get no type of refund, no type of like Kanye that's a big head like that's a like I was reading some of the comments and this one kid was like, man, I like worked for months to save up for and also festival tickets are expensive. He's
Mhm.
like, "I worked for months to save up for this ticket, finally bought it, and now you're telling me the artist that I purchased it to see is not performing, and I can't get my money back." And I think that sucks. I think that sucks.
I feel like they need to start implementing some new future strategies to where it's like if you paid a lot of money for a VIP, probably you should get a refund
Yeah,
or something like that, and
or
then
allow
it
some
could
type of like
to trade
insurance.
insurance, right? Or be able to trade
Yeah,
with someone who is like, hey, I just want to go to the event. Like, I don't care who's headlining or not. Like, I think there could be some type of technology, blockchain, to do something with NFT purchase that could help that insurance policy or something. So
yeah, it's
like,
gonna have to be done because honestly, there's so many uh festivals and concerts and now that are doing the streaming thing where it's like you don't have to go to these shows. You can literally watch like Day in Vegas is not happening because ticket sales were so low. And I think it partly has to do with the fact that the lineup was very similar to last year's lineup. When I say similar, I mean there were at least 10 artists on that lineup, big name artists that performed last year that I saw. And I was like, well, why am I going to go see the same show again? But also, people are realizing that, like, I can watch this shit at home.
mm,
I don't have to stand in line. I don't have to maybe not be able to see the stage. I can absolutely see the stage from my couch.
right.
Absolutely. So, yeah, I just
Yeah.
thought that was interesting. I do hope that down the line, and when I say down the line, I mean after this festival season, before next festival season, these companies like kind of think about implementing stuff where if headliners drop out, like maybe you pay an extra $50 or $40 of insurance, and if it drops out, you get your refund because people are paying to see these artists and things happen, but like if they're not performing, I shouldn't have to like be the one who doesn't get what I want to see, what I paid
That
to see.
that's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair. Yeah.
you know. All right. So next, Jules Santana is launching his own independent label,
Yo.
which I had no idea this was even like in the works. And when I read this, I was very caught by surprise rather. And it's called "I Can't Feel My Face," which it was initially a mixtape
With
titled.
Wheezy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it turned it into an independent label. He posted a logo on his Instagram with like this zombified, like gremlin looking baby, and it was wearing like the red, white, and blue um bandana that he always rocks. And
The Jules
yeah,
Santana
yeah.
bandana.
And he has the roster. Let me see some of the artists on the roster. Santana's nephew, Young Ja, Ski, and Caesar are a few of the rappers that are already signed to the label. And it's also doubling as a media hub, which will feature clothing and weed products, which both will kind of like embody his lifestyle.
Mm.
How do you think this is going to go? Do you think this is
Um,
is gonna end up? Do you think this is gonna like be something that is a long time lasting thing? Do you think this is something that's gonna be more of like an East Coast type of vibe? You know what I'm saying? Like what are your thoughts on this?
man, I'm buying whatever they selling. Joe said Cinnamon has always been a real one, man. And yeah, it's definitely in New York. It's definitely an East Coast kind of vibe here with it. But like, I'm excited to see more artists more artists from the past that have done things and contributed to the culture and to the way
Mhm.
it's in a way that we've seen lyricism and expression and swag and like that whole era is so dope to see that become more than just an idea or a mixtape. For the concept of something going from a mixtape to becoming an enterprise is really dope, and starting an independent label and making sure it's independent. I think on the weight of his brand and his legacy and contribution to hip hop, I think it becomes authentic and it's like an acquired kind of the I rock it, man. Whatever they got going on, like I'm in all support, especially if it's independent. It's a black business, you know. It's like let's go, like I'm curious for what the records is gonna sound like, and I'm thinking Griselda and you know what I'm saying, and some of the cats is finna get down with them because like that they've kind of researched, they kind of created a whole resurgence of that era in a new kind of way, like that whole camp just brings back that kind of authentic raw hip hop. So I'm excited to see what happens with you. Like that's
Yeah, and you touched on something pretty important, I think, and just going back to the artistry, and I liked what you said about more artists kind of uh, stepping back into the game and taking this kind of leadership. And when I think about it like that, I translated. Obviously, I'm a big basketball fan, and it's like now we love seeing players from back in the day as coaches now, right? Because it's like the game, you know what it's like to be in that player, what these young players are going through now. You know what it's like to be them. You know how all of the ins and outs work. Whereas a lot of these older rich people who A either never touched a basketball or B never rapped in their life, you know what I'm saying? They're the ones leading the company. And sometimes they're the ones screwing you over. So I think it's dope to see some of these artists starting their own thing because it's like, not that you're not going to have your own trials and tribulations, but they're going to come from different spaces and some things you're going to be able to avoid because you know the game and you've already been through that and you're going to help these younger artists avoid that and like that's the progression that we need.
right.
And that's super important.
And yeah, and it's also I seen another podcast. I forgot, these older homies. They was interviewing what's homie, the producer. I was just watching it today. Southside. They were interviewing Southside. They were talking about this concept. Like, yo, sometimes like the older homies be like lost in the glory days, be trying to like go, trying to keep going hard and trying to take it's like, yo, let the young homies do their thing. Like
Yeah.
step into a supportive role. You know how it works. You had your run, but then like you also gotta pave the way for the next
Right.
generation and give them the right type of tools. And like what you said, it's leadership by doing it independently. That's dope. It's showing that just showing the path of how it's possible. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
possible to do it. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited to hear what's good with that and see the folks on the roster, see what they got going on.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Last thing I want to touch on. Triller is seeing a surge in their users following the FTC's call to ban TikTok. So I kind of forgot about this, but back in like 2020, India banned TikTok. And then I do remember when the US was like talking about it. Obviously, it didn't happen. But at the time, when it was being talked about, Triller said they saw like a big surge of users on their platform, and they weren't fully prepared for it, right? I mean, which happens. Like you kind of like hit the ground running, and you're thinking that you have time to like build up to what you want to do, and then something happens on another platform, and everyone's like, "All right, I'm gonna check this one out at the same time," and it's like, "Oh shit, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready." But since that's happened, they've been able to kind of get ready, and they've added some new features and just really like beefed up their platform overall. And now they're like really, really competing hard with TikTok. And one thing that they've added that I thought was interesting was they've established, it's called the Assembly for Black Creators. And it's to help promote a system that showcases the underserved and ensures payment for their work. And I thought this was interesting for a few reasons. It's it's no secret that black young black creators have come up with 98, if not 100% of these like TikTok dances that are going viral, right? They come up with these dances, they post them, and then respectfully, Emily or Allison sees it. And Emily and
Karen.
Allison, yeah, they got millions of followers. So they do the dance. And then next thing you know, it's viral, but homegirl didn't get no credit for it. So they're looking to combat that. And I think that that's cool. But then I'm also like, is that are they now going to be handicapped? Are people now going to say like they only are doing this because like Triller helped them? You see what I'm saying? Like, is this rightly deserved? Like, is this the help that is this what Triller should be doing? Or would it just be easier for them to just like have their platform and pay the black creators what they're owed without having this assembly for black creators narrative? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? It makes me wonder if they have a diverse workforce, because
Mm,
who's behind being able to create that? And so
yeah.
you look at these tech companies and ERGs, right? Employee resource groups that are developing are also adding a level of perspective and bringing to the forefront the narrative that is being told on these platforms through technology. And that narrative is, yo, black folks are extremely creative
Hmm.
and really leading culture in a lot of different ways. And we see what happens when it's like copied and replicated and duplicated, and all of a sudden and then it permeates the airwaves. And I mean, we saw what happened to the dab. Oh my God. Like, oh
I
man,
mean,
it just
any of
got
that stuff though. The gritty now. Like I'm on Instagram and I'm just seeing like all these little white boys and they score their little baskets on basketball and they just hitting it on the way down. Like it's
you know
hilarious. It's funny, but it's just like do do you know where that came from?
yeah,
Who did you
right.
get that from? A lot of them got it from like John Morant or other NBA players who are doing it. But it's like yeah, it's
Right, right. And so, but another one of the co-founders, like the early co-founders of Blavity, right? And Jonathan Jackson, he spoke about this concept of like, yeah, so how do you quantify it when someone creates how do you own a dance, right? How do you
mm,
trademark, like, and then so like this space of these social media platforms and these mediums, we don't have a way of tracking what you do and where it starts from, and then that being where the money flows to,
right.
right? And that
Yeah.
because that's where it originated, right? And so I think it makes me wonder what's happening at Triller. If Triller has a team and it's like they have a diverse team and they're like, hey, we want to take diversity very serious. What do y'all think we should do? And they're like, hey, we'll do this right now because we're looking at TikTok. And it don't seem like TikTok's really had anything for that. I mean, it was originally a Chinese company, right? Like
Right.
the and so it's like,
Right.
so if there's an opportunity to do it here, I'm not, and I need to do my research and figure out what's happening with Triller and where Triller started. But if it's an American company, it makes sense that they would be like, all right, let's start with the fact that culture, let's see if we can have something to help
Yeah.
start it right now early. So we'll see how it lands, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good idea. I'll hop on it. It's an affirmative action. I don't give a damn.
That's funny. For sure.
I'll
I feel it though. I
get
feel it. Absolutely.
it
Absolutely.
in there.
Yeah. All right, for sure. Well, that wraps up this week's episode, or this week's segment, rather. I always say that. I mean, this week's segment of What's Poppin', because I was about to say this week's episode of What's Poppin'.
So,
This week's segment of What's Poppin'. Let's head over to Fresh Looks. I'm always really excited for this segment. I feel like every week I'm like, yo, I found some really dope people this week. This week I'm so excited. I'm always going to be excited for this segment, I think. This might be one of my faves.
hey.
All right. So first we have popping off. First artist I want to talk about. Her name is Greentea Peng. Green Tea, one word, space Pang. And I was introduced to this young lady by my friend Christine. Shout out to Christine. She is so Green Tea is from Southeast London, and they actually like met in Mexico, and she's dope vibe. She was telling me and my other friend about her, and we literally watched like an hour worth of like her music videos, and I was just floored by she's so pretty. She's pretty. Her voice is just soulful and like psychedelic. She has a great energy to her. She really gives me that attitude of like, I don't give a fuck what y'all think or what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm gonna do. And this here it is type of vibe. And I love that. Like rule breaker, not going with the grain, going against the grain. Um, she draws a lot of her influence from different places and experience that she holds dear. Um, she has a lot of different contrasting energies in her videos, so a lot of darkness, but also a lot of light. Really uses. She's always in like a field of flowers, but that doesn't mean that everything that she's singing about, or a field of lavender, right? But it doesn't mean everything she's singing about is so like poppy and like sometimes it could be like not that.
Right.
So her vocals are what you have to focus on in the artistry, and it just really takes you on a journey. She has very honest lyrics. Um, she has really heavy sounds, and she's just a dope individual. A few of the songs that I really like from her, my favorite is called Downers, which I mean, it can just like take you there into that like, down energy of like, but like it's a vibe. I love that song. Um, Mr. Sun is cute. I like that song, Mr. Sun. And then she has another song called Stuck in the Middle that she recently released back in June. Um, so she has this two-song so she released an EP in June called Stuck in the Middle, and then on that it has two songs. So one song is called Stuck in the Middle, and then there was another song on there called Your Mind. So she released that back in June of this year, and then she had her debut album came out last year, which is titled Man Made. So check her out. She's fire. Like I haven't it's very rare that I sit and watch somebody's music videos. I feel like we haven't done that in a while. Like I remember when like 106 in Park was like the thing to watch, right? And it's been a while since I've truly enjoyed like, every now and then I'll watch a good one, but like I said, I was watching her stuff for like an hour, just like floored by the artistry and her vocals and just any and everything in between. So Greentea Peng, check her out. Fresh look for this week.
Greentea Peng. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna be bumping some Greentea Peng. That's an
Yo,
amazing name. That
yeah, it
name.
is. It is. It is. All right. So next we have the homie Cyanide Beats. And
Hey.
yeah, so Cyanide is a super dope up and coming and I don't even like to use up and coming at this point because I feel like he's here. I feel like he's like, no one ever is really where they want to be. Everyone wants to elevate, but like I don't know if I want to use up and coming for him anymore because I think homie's doing it. He's here. He's making
Cyanide,
waves.
get the money.
Yeah, he's doing it. But so he was actually discovered by Airbit about 2 years ago. And he's Airbit's first signed producer. He started making beats when he was like 9, and he was doing like EDM beats.
Mm,
And he as early as like I think he said 5th grade, he was sending them to different like DJ pools and uploading them online. And as he matured, he kind of changed his sound to more of like the trappy, darker vibes. And since then, since about 2018, I think he's like fully rebranded himself. So he's completely switched his sound to like more trap and hip hop beats. And he's been cranking them out ever since. He recently released his first fully produced album that he's fully produced called Boundless earlier this year, back in May, with his friend and artist Elijah Dow. And Boundless is a vibe. It's such a good, like high energy workout, like just album. I really like listening to it like on my like hikes or runs, especially when you're feeling like tired and you just need that extra boost to get you where you
it's
gotta go.
crack. It's a
It's
crack
I'll,
album.
I'll, I'll honestly put on like I have a few favorite tracks. Troublemaker is a really good one. Um, and Now I'm Up is a good one.
Now I'm up. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, built different. Like they all just make me feel like ah, you know. So just yeah, you know, I don't really have like a lot of muscles. I'm going to a strength training class later. Work on my
Hey,
muscles. But nah, shout out to Cyanide. Super dope producer, super dope album. I'm gonna link the full album in our description so you can check it out. But yeah, Cyanide Beats. Be on the lookout for because he's coming and he's here at the same time. All of
mm,
that.
mm,
Yeah.
man.
And then the last artist that I want to talk about today, his name is Tre'Armani. Tre'Armani. Have you heard of him?
I have heard of Tre'Armani. I have
Yeah.
not listened deeply with Tre'Armani, but
Okay.
that name has come up multiple times.
I like saw his name in an interview. I was like reading something and he did an interview, and I think one of the first questions I read was like influence, like who are you? Who are your influences? And he said Tupac, Kanye, and Kid Cudi. And I was like, well, that's an interesting like trio, right? Like they're not, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't necessarily group them all together, you know, like,
Right.
but that's a strong trio to take different things from. So if you're
Hmm.
influenced by them, then I'm gonna check you out, you know.
Hmm.
Uh born and raised in Maryland. He's been doing this thing since he was like 16, and
Okay.
he's really, really into like his self-expression and creativity as his outlet into the world. He's very original. He released his first full project back in 2018 called
Mm.
Die Young, and he's currently signed to Lost Kids, which is an independent record label. So he has a few songs that I've listened to that I really like. Lost Kid is one of them. On Us, which is featuring Brent Fayez, is another one, and then Sing Ghost is a good one.
Mm.
And he dropped an EP last month called Shook.
Mm.
Yeah, money sign is the
Okay.
S. You feel me?
Mm.
Yeah.
Like shook ones.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So Tre'Armani, check him out. You know what I'm saying? Nice little
Yeah.
vibe to him.
Oh
And
yeah, for sure. The NoTv Fresh Look playlist, yo. That's about to be one for the books, yo. Y'all, that's the joint right there, for
for
real.
sure, for sure. All right. So that's this week's segment of Fresh Looks. Kwesi, hit me with some digital dash.
Oh, suck it now. Yo, so Digital Dash this week, yo. It's your boy, the Digital Dash Daily Guru, Kwesi.
Ooh, digital
y-
dash daily.
Digital
Triple
Dash.
D. Hit him with the
Hey,
triple D.
hit him with the triple dates. I'm in it. I'm in it. So I'm gonna hit y'all with actually a triple delivery of 3 different apps that I use consistently. A lot of artists that I know use as well. That will help highway you if you're an artist, a producer, or just someone that's trying to get high quality graphic design for a flyer for events or even your business. There's a lot of tools out there, but these 3 are probably like the most swaggy in terms of what you can do with it and how it can get you to where you want to be. The first one I'm going to hit you with is PicsArt. PicsArt, y'all can check it out. It's PicsArt. Okay. Took me a while. I wanted to make sure I got that one correct. Yeah, this app is available for mobile and desktop now. You can do it online as well. I use the mobile on my iPad and my phone. I've been using PicsArt for maybe 4 years now, since probably 2017, 2018, when I first got my iPad Pro. When I tell you the type of effects that could be applied to designs and what you do to images and the way you can shape them, resize them, crop them, the deeper you dive into all of the presets that they have there, the more you can create multiple layers of digital expression. And PicsArt, for some reason, for me, it's above all one of the quickest ways for me to get some really nice kind of lo-fi images. If you want some dirt on it, if you want it to look like if you want to take a regular picture and make it look like it's a 1995 Polaroid, if you want to add some kind of like hair and make it look like film, you can do that. If you want to change the just like the color palette to make it look like blurry, or there's so many different types of ways you can approach it. It's like limitless. They have background removal, so if you need to quickly just remove the background of something, of course you could do it on a lot of different apps nowadays, but specifically with PicsArt, you can do it really quick. Resizing for different socials, animated content. You can make content do different things. Light, light, light. It has some light video editing, which is super dope, and it can export in 4K, 60 frames per second as well. And that was something I just discovered not too long ago. So in terms of you filming something on your phone, if you want to get a really dope kind of vinyl film effect on it, you can do that in PicsArt and export at 4K, 60 frames per second.
Wow.
That's like the standard now. So you can get really high quality stuff. So that's if you're shooting it from your phone. It's priced at $44.66 a month, at $55.99 if you purchase annually, and monthly it's about like 12 bucks, like $11.99. This is I can't stress how much I use it. I use it on almost everything now, and especially when I try to do really interesting things really fast, I get to PicsArt really quick. So check out PicsArt. It's amazing for social media. If you're a content creator, it's a great weapon to have in your back pocket. I pay yearly for it because it's just something that it's a no-brainer for me. I use it pretty much every day. So that's PicsArt. That's 1 of 3. VideoLeap is 2 of 3. VideoLeap, like PicsArt, is an amazing media software. VideoLeap, it's hands down. If I'm not editing in Final Cut Pro or Premiere, I am editing in VideoLeap on my iPad or on my phone. Sometimes I cook something up real quick on my phone just because it's that good. You can do, again, 4K, 60 frames per second export. You can 720 it and give it 60 frames per second, so you get the highest quality for uploading to TikTok or Instagram, what have you. But VideoLeap is by a company called Lightricks. They got it. They got there's just so much you can do with it. You can edit, splice different videos together. You can templatize, create a template, and just switch the video out, the specific content you have for it. You can beat match it. It can read whatever the music you put into it. It can read it and create these kind of marker points for the accent marks of the beat. So you can cut and edit to the beat in VideoLeap. They have so many different effects, from prism kind of effects to old television effects. You can go to Pixabay and pull in royalty-free videos so that you can edit within your stuff. There's so many different filters. It is endless. It's priced at $7.99 per month or $35.99 as of this video right now. But again, another one that I mindlessly just pay for yearly without a doubt. It's the way to go. Now, the last one is kind of just like the first one, just like VideoLeap. This one's called BeatLeap. I'm putting you on real game right here. If you ain't know about BeatLeap, if you're a producer or an artist, you don't know about BeatLeap, you tripping. You really, I'm letting you know right now. You are all the way on the floor. There's, I can't, BeatLeap is the future. It automatically, BeatLeap automatically cuts your stuff to the beat. It's VideoLeap. Basically, you can edit something in VideoLeap, import it into BeatLeap, load up a beat, load up one of they have internal music too if you don't have music or you just whatever. But if you're a dancer, if you're a music producer, just a content creator, you want to create intros, transitions, whatever, and you want it to move with the rhythm of the music, that's what BeatLeap is. So if you're a producer and you got content, I don't care if you're outside and you're shooting trees and then shooting people on the side of the road and you can shoot anything, throw it into BeatLeap and it'll make it look fresh. Like you have a dope video to your own beat or your own music or your own content that you create. This is also by Lightrix VideoLeap. They just extended it even further by creating a whole nother kind of sub software called BeatLeap. This thing is it's so hard putting you on game because I'm like, man, I want to keep this to myself so bad.
I know, right? Bad. You start to use it, it's slowing down a little bit. You like, that's because there's too many people on here now.
I'm like, yo, I want to just keep it to myself so bad, but what's the use of keeping it to myself if I'm not putting everybody on game and also having fun with seeing what people do with it? So I know I've been having fun with it, and if you've seen the transitions, you know if you've seen our transitions for our videos, I've used one or the other of these three apps to some degree to create something to give a nice little vibe. So that's your digital dash for this week. Kwesi signing out.
Hey, I love it. For sure. Well, we're not signing off just yet. We got one more dope segment. We're about to drop a few gems. Let's take it over to Run It. You be like running a little bit when you're running. I'd be like,
start running in place. Let me get a quick run. It's the vibe.
Yo, so I'm really excited for this week's Run It segment because I think it is important in today's world. You know what I'm saying? It is very rare that anyone just has one income stream, right? It's like not, I don't know, that's just very rare these days. So today we're going to be talking about alternative revenue streams for producers. And I want to open this up by asking you what were your initial thoughts on artists and producers having alternate income streams?
It's the only way to go. You can't just lean in one direction in terms of just one way of getting money. Like that's actually shooting yourself in the foot, you know, in anything in life. You
Yeah.
should have multiple income streams at all times in from every direction, in whatever way you can. And your talents probably shouldn't just exist in only one direction. You should turn your passions and the things that you love to do into ways that you can also make money. And uh, if you're just stuck in one way of just getting a check in one way, then what happens when that cuts off, or COVID happens, or something else happens in this world? Then you're stuck. So it just makes sense to diversify your income streams. That's the only way to move. So as a
Yeah.
producer, there's a lot of different ways you could do that. So go ahead, Brittany, put us on game.
Yeah. Well, first, I want to ask you, as a producer, are there any? And I just kind of want to just go back to what you said. You know, it is. I think the importance of having multiple streams of income was drilled into my head at a very young age. Like my dad always was talking about this, and not that
Mhm.
he, didn't have. I mean, he worked, but you also have to think of like the time, the age, and stuff. Like I feel like back in the day, like it was normal to work that 9 to 5 and like to get that check and like that kind of be, you might invest it into stocks and stuff, but like you're really working only one job. I think now we have so much more technology that really working a 9 to 5 is kind of weird. Like no one is truly, you might be at that job from the hours of 9 to 5, but I promise I don't think that you're working from 9 to 5. You might be done with your work around 1, 2 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just like kikiing and doing whatever. So it's like to use that space and to use that time to do something else that will make you money, I think is very beneficial. And just to go back on what you said, man, I remember when COVID happened, and honestly, everything that I was doing got shut down. It wasn't just like, one thing, it was all of them. Basketball, done. Bartending, done. Yoga, done. My main job, done. Like it was all done. But
Mhm.
it, I mean, I wasn't about to be going to any, the whole world was shut down. But that did
Mhm.
make me pivot. It did make me pivot into thinking like when COVID, I was like, all right, well, now let me think about what can I do to make money that if this happens again, I can be at home and I can still make money. Like that's how I thought of like, so now what's an alternative way that I can make money that won't be affected by COVID? And you got to think about that sometimes. Or how can I make money that won't be affected by this, or that will allow me to do this? So I do want
Mhm.
to ask you, as a producer yourself, what are some of your alternative income streams that you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, as a producer, for me, I'm not just a producer, but I'm an artist, right? As a producer, you are an artist. You're an artist that paints with sound. And
Mhm.
sometimes you paint a canvas for another artist to also complete, right? And that's you producing a beat, you hand it over to an artist, they complete it, or you hand it over to someone making a short film, or someone that's has a corporate video that they wanted to do and they wanted to tell a story. You're really essentially a storyteller, and you just use sound as your sentences. And that's one way of looking at it. And also for me as an artist, I've looked at it in a lot of different ways, because once you're an artist, you're like, okay, well, I need album art. And then you're like, who does album art? And then you're like, well, let me learn it myself. And you realize that the same key commands that you use for producing are the same key commands you'll use in the software of the many layers that you add on graphic design. So for me, graphic design became a automatic second step for me as a producer, because as a producer, I've created different layers to create sound. Then I
Mhm.
started doing different layers to create images. And so it's very interesting. And my best friend is also a graphic designer. So it was like we would just chop it up and realize like how much ideology is shared between graphic design and music production. And it's like you could tell a lot of producers also have a good eye and aesthetic for something that's really like something that's really dope or aesthetically pleasing to the eye, because it's a weird comparison and translation to to music. So I've done graphic design on the side. I've also done syncing on the side as well, and worked with filmmakers and collaborated with filmmakers, and so it's not just beat licensing that I've worked on. It's also working with companies as well, and working with media agencies. There's so many media agencies out there that are always looking for some type of music and vibe. People working on weddings, they're like, dude, I need some emotional chill stuff. And they want, sometimes they just go to like what's the Envato or Pond5, or they go to these sites to get these stock sounds where they can like purchase a license to use them for a wedding video. Or it is like, bruh, just be friends with you know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
a good way to be like, hey man, I can license it to you directly. I can make it custom for you. Like, when is your event? Like, what do you got going on? And so I've done work with companies, and they've also licensed my stuff as well. So it's there's there's that aspect of it, mixing and mastering, working with different artists, and doing the mixing their beats, like mixing their vocals. A lot of people do that too. Um, you can also mentor. If you know something, you can also mentor. People will pay you for your time, and if especially if you know something, you don't need to be an expert. You just need to know what you know really well, and people will pay you for their time. So there's that aspect of it too. For some reason, we also, as producers, we build ourselves. Like we now you produce product. That's what you make. And so because we're kind of DIY, we learn to do a lot of things ourselves. And once you learn how to do that yourself, turn what you learn how to do into a service. And so web design also was the next step for me. So I started building websites for friends, family, people that are close. And so like that's also another direction you can go into. So those are just a few alternative income streams that I personally have have gained over the years and learned how to set up.
Oh, and it's important because every creative has that dream of like making it big. Like everybody wants to like be in the music industry, and then it's like, boom, here's one fire beat. Let me get it to, like you said, get it to this artist. Boom, money. It's a hit. Yay, I made it, right? But like up until that point, you still got bills, you still got rent, you still need groceries. So what are some of the things that you can do to kind of keep making money, but also still doing your craft? Because I think that's another thing, right? You want to make sure that the things you're doing on the side, maybe outside of like your main thing, are all gearing and working towards being an artist or being a producer. So we just want to share a few things that you can do. Um, yeah, that can kind of help steer you in the right direction if you're looking for other ways to make more money as a producer or artist. So the first thing, I mean, this is like the easiest one, right? Selling your beats on a beat selling platform or marketplace. And I feel like this is obviously really obvious. But we just want to reiterate the importance of this, right? Like beats that are sitting on your computer, on your hard drive, no matter how dope, no matter how fire they are, they're not making you any money. And that's just plain and simple. Nobody's listening to them. No one's purchasing them. No one even knows that they're there. But once you place them on this platform, you're allowing hundreds or thousands of ears to kind of listen to that beat and listen to your music, and allowing them the ability to purchase your music and make music off of what you created. In addition to that, and I'm not going to get too much into this because I want you to check out a few episodes ago, we talked in great detail about YouTube monetization, but finding a platform like Airbit who supports YouTube Content ID is another revenue stream that will allow your music that is on YouTube to help make you some more money. So selling your beats on a beat marketplace or beat selling platform is another way to make additional revenue stream. Another one we have is sample and loop packs. And I know that you're a big supporter of this one. And this has actually been like one of the fastest like rising sectors I've read in a while in regards to just like the music industry. Obviously, sampling will always be part of, I guess, like the musical landscape, right? Copyright is ever more stringently protected, and making selling music with with unlicensed samples. It's a very dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. Sampling pack companies have stepped up to kind of help pour some water on some of these fires that may arise. And, I think from genre specific packs to just drum packs to, synth packs, you'd be amazed at how many exciting sounds producers can create and make into beat selling packs. You look like you have something that you want to add on, or did you just agree with what I'm saying? Oh, I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no, no, I do.
okay,
Real quick to that, no,
yeah.
because yeah, this is a sector that's growing really fast, and like, and one of the things, one of the tips, and keep this in mind. Sometimes we get stuck, like producers get stuck when we'll be producing something and we'll be like, and we just stop, and it's just like really, it's a halting moment. And I always say this as a like to advice of people who get on that stuck wave where they're like, I was creating this beat and I just don't know where to go with it. Break it apart and make it into a sound pack. Like put that into a sound pack folder. If you have a
Mm,
beat that you can't see past to the next level of it's going to be of value to somebody else that might get that beat pack, and might get that sound pack if you just create and aggregate all your old beats where you're like, I don't know where I was going with this. Somebody's gonna find somewhere to go with it, and so just make it into a sound pack. So that's just a little tip that I want to throw in too. Is like sound packs are a lot easier to make than you think they are. So
that's fire because I didn't even think about it like that. But when you do, because I mean, I hear all the time about, you know, producers kind of hitting that wall and they're like, I'm almost there, but I don't know how to finish it. That's very smart to just break it up and boom, you have a beat pack. And I do want to include that you can now create your own packs and sell your own packs on the Airbit platform. So if this is something that you've never even thought about doing, think about doing it. All right.
she one of them.
All right. So next we have synchronization, which you kind of touched on earlier. And when I think of sync, I think of it like being in like the VIP section, right? Of like your favorite concert or festival. Everybody wants to be there, whether they admit it or not. Everyone wants to get down with sync, whether they admit it or not. I think it's one of those like not really understood all the time territories of music. It has so many different nuances involved in it, and it can get a little confusing on like what's allowed, what's not allowed, like how do I do it? You know what I'm saying? Um Sync happens when your music is used in some type of like computer game or TV or film. Similar to streaming, the value depends on the deals on based on the size of the audience, right? So the bigger the audience, the more value it's worth. Um Sync is a lot. It's a big thing to kind of dive into. We have a great interview that we did a while back with Miss Madley, and she gave us mind blowing information about sync. And we might do another one again soon. But I really want to encourage you guys to check that out if sync is something that you're interested in kind of dipping your toe in and getting involved in. Kwesi, do you have any other? I know you said this was something you did a while back. What more can you tell us about sync and how to kind of get involved into that?
Yeah, so Sync also has a formula. I currently have something going on with Sync as well on a show that I can't really speak of. I'm pretty excited that
Cool.
I got a yeah, I got
Okay.
a contract sent to me that I decided. Thank you, thank you so much for your excitement. That does my heart so well. Yeah, so until it airs, and then then I can share it. But it's a pretty dope show that a lot of people watch. But it's not as hard as people think, and there's music libraries that you can submit your music
Yes.
to. There's a lot of resources on folks that that kind of break down how you structure your formula so that it lands really well for sync. One person that's been collaborating with Airbit and has been doing really well and has been kind of putting together a lot of resources too, in addition to Miss Madley, is also Clint Music. Clint, he's been posting a lot of dope stuff about sync and how to approach sync. That's where big bags can come from fairly quickly, depending on where you can land your music in libraries, but also how you can structure your music for sync. And once you start syncing, then you finna be in sync. It's it's like you just gonna keep on, you'll find a rhythm with it. There's also micro syncing, right? There's also micro sync licenses, which is for social media people who can, but like, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump the gun
Nah.
here.
That's why I said I just knew.
Yeah.
I know how. I mean, just based off of the conversation, like I said, that we had Miss Madley, and then just watching. I've seen some of the videos Clint done. Sync is like it's a big nugget with like so many different stems from it. It's like a tree with so
Right.
many different branches that can branch off into different things, and it's like you can get into it, and your path may not be the same as somebody else who's in it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's but I think it's an amazing tool, and it's something that more people, once understood, can take advantage of and use to their benefit. So I definitely wanted to just highlight it. Um,
Hmm.
so the next thing I want to talk about is DJing, and I think this is kind of like a pretty obvious one, but it also does take some skill. Most people assume that if you're a good producer, you'll be good at DJing, and that's not the case at all. But but I have heard from some producers um, and DJs, that their producing skills transferred perfectly into DJing. When we spoke with Candy, I don't know if you remember when we spoke with her back in March, but she DJs. She's bomb. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Getting gigs is not as easy at first, but if you're willing to kind of put in the work rather, and work with like, just some lower level gigs at first, um, have great music, network, that's always the key to a lot of things. Over time, promoters and venues will start reaching out once they kind of have confidence in your viability, and you'll get some nice paying, you can get some nice paying gigs from DJing. And I also want to note rather that if your music is registered with a PRO, you can claim royalties from your performances, which is duh, you know? So I think
Yeah.
DJing is a definite something that you should try out. Not saying that it's gonna be easy, but you should definitely, you know, give it a good try.
Oh yeah.
All right. So next, merchandise. And I really like this idea because I think that we're in a time where the merch game right now is dope. Like the merch game right now is crazy. I feel like if you have a good brand, if you have a solid team behind you, and if you can afford, obviously, the more you put into it, the more you're gonna like get out of it, in regards to like the quality. But if this is something that you can afford to do, the payout is gonna be really nice. And aside from just being able to like give out dope merch, it's a cool way to market and brand yourself. Like, and it doesn't even have to be a t-shirt, right? Stickers. I love stickers. I put stickers on all my notebooks, on my laptop. Like stickers are super in. That's an easy one to sell. Same thing with pins. Um, and you can sell merch via your Instagram. So you can actually like it doesn't have to be just to your family and friends. You can like sell it on your Instagram. And it's a great way to connect and promote your fan base and grow your fan base and just have people wearing your name and wearing your brand. So I think merchandise is a great alternative stream of revenue.
True that.
Next one we have, and this one I think is an amazing idea, is tutoring. Because how easy is it to make money off of giving someone knowledge of something that you already know? Right? When I was like I remember being sad when I wasn't playing basketball anymore. And then like 2 days later, I was like, duh, coach. It's like It's like that, you know the game, you don't have to be away from the game. You're just on the other side of the black line. And it's kind of the same thing, it's gonna start out as an act of love, but if you're good and you build your network, this is another thing that can turn out to be really, really lucrative. And it's not something that you necessarily, obviously, we're kind of getting back into things where you're, meeting with people in person, but you can still tutor over Google Meet, Skype, Zoom, have allowed people to be able to connect and communicate and share screens and audio. I think kids are starting to take on music at a younger age now. I mean, talked about cyanide earlier. He was, I think I said 9, and I think that music is something that that schools don't necessarily put all the energy into it that they should. So I think it's important that we find ways to make sure the kids are still connected to this. So
Mm,
if you have the time and you're able, twice, maybe 3 times a week to kind of go to some type of, I don't know, like not childcare center, but like a YMCA or just an empty school, like a classroom that has computers where you can kind of break down different production sites that kids can use that are kid friendly and show them how to make beats from scratch and how to like just the basics. That's a good way to kind of build your network in an additional way to make some extra cash.
great point.
Yeah, I know.
You all proud of your research? Okay, all right, yeah, yeah,
And
that's
the
lit.
last the last one I want to touch on is streaming. Welcome to 2022. We stream our music, right? So platforms like Spotify, Apple, Tidal, Amazon, they're dominating the market right now. And while there's no one way to kind of break through, the common sense is that playlists are crucial to increasing exposure. As a producer, you have the advantage of having dozens of tracks make money as opposed to just one for an artist. So think of each track as like a slow burning income generator, right? Fans may initially come to find your music in retrospect. If a different track grabs their attention, keep your music on that platform. Now they're able to see like more of your music. And now you're able to build your network that way. It's important to note that many streaming services who use playlists as a tool for promotion as well as blogs. I read this about blogs too. They have a 2-month-old maximum policy to keep their content fresh, right? So you want to make sure that you're always pitching your stuff because after a certain amount of time, whatever track you have on there, it may get replaced by something else. So you just want to make sure you're always keeping your library up to date, keeping your stuff up to date, which is another reason why you don't want to just have that stuff sitting on your computer. You can always pitch it to these platforms and hopefully it'll make it onto one of their playlists.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a few platforms, but one of the things to also do in that in the networking aspect of it too is keep two things in mind. Once things are uploaded and are streaming, it's compound interest, right? It's compound
mm,
royalties. Once it's live, it's like it's gonna get listens. The more you release, the more people hear, and then go back to listen to your other stuff. So it just kind of
right.
compounds on the type of revenue that comes from that. That's one. That's one aspect. The second thing too is building your network. I think the way the way you can follow bloggers and curators on Twitter or Instagram, just so you know where they're at and what's going on algorithmically, your kind of community and your social profile and those kind of data points kind of point to each other, so create that kind of web of connection, um,
Yeah.
to to curators that you can kind of see or follow, or bloggers that blog. When I see a dope blog about something or about music or top albums to listen to, I always look at the author. I always go to Twitter and I always follow them on Twitter, just
Yeah.
just so it's like algorithm wise of the social networks is I'm gonna get some exposure to what they're posting, and eventually they'll probably get some exposure to what I'm posting too.
And I like what you said about that. And you also don't always have to go for like all the heavy hitters, right? So like Spotify, I think has so many playlists. And obviously the popular ones, like the Rising Stars, just the ones that you see like once you like go to like Spotify and you click like new releases, just they have the heavy ones, right? But then
Mhm,
there's also like those smaller ones that, like you said, literally give the name and the email address of the person who curated that playlist.
mhm.
And while it might not have, the 150,000 follows that like a Rising Stars might have, it
Or a
could still
lo-fi
have,
girl. Yeah.
yeah, it could still have like a good amount, like 50,000 people that have never heard you before. And
Mhm,
it's just a good way, like I said, networking, never sell yourself, never think that you're too big to take an opportunity.
mhm.
So yeah, hell yeah.
Mic drop.
So
Sex
for
and chocolate,
that,
everybody. Sex and chocolate. Sex and chocolate, everybody.
that wraps up another episode of NoTv. I want to give a special shout out to PreSonus, as always, for providing us with this dope equipment, microphone,
Mhm.
headphones. Shout out to them. Uh, we got some announcements this Friday. FBF Light, pull up. Kwesi gonna be there.
Mm.
Whether he's in the U.S. or still in Norway, he's gonna be there.
Hey,
And
definitely
then
get
next
going
week,
on.
next week we have the official FBF, which, as a reminder, is a West Coast theme. So actually, this Friday, I should say, West Coast themed FBF. I know that like some people, you don't have to necessarily make a West Coast beat, but like try to stay within the, challenge yourself. Step outside of your comfort zone if this is not something you usually make. It's gonna
I'm gonna
make the
say you
show.
have to. I'm gonna
it's
be. I'm
it,
gonna be that guy.
it's gonna make the show a lot more fun. And then also, if you've missed any episodes of the previous No TV episodes, please feel free to go back, check them out. We had some great interviews. Talk about a lot of cool things, a lot of good fresh looks, some more digital dash. Just check out the episodes, all of them. They're still on YouTube, where this one is gonna be. You don't want to miss nothing. And yeah, Quincy, you got any last remarks?
Yeah, shout out to PreSonus again. I'm gonna run it back, man. They the homies always got good quality, and shout out to the Airbit team. And hope y'all have a really dope week, and we'll see you next week.
Wait, remind me again of what's the name of the studio you're at? We got to shout them out too, because I met the
Oh
homie
yeah,
earlier.
shout out Risky Records out here in Norway, man.
Risky
Risky
Records.
Records, yo, yeah, got the homie Twan out here, man, doing the thing. It's good, man. Y'all gonna hear some new Norwegian records coming from me out of nowhere. Gonna
Hey,
be like, what's going on? Like, it's about to
what's
be a.
what's like what's the vibe out there again? Is you said Afrobeat? Is that
It's
what's the
like
vibe out there?
there's Afrobeat. No, there's trap. There's Afrobeat. There's like kind of bass swinging. Like they be on the same beats we be on. Like, but
Okay.
they be expressing in different kind of tongues. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's a different kind of feel. So it's dope though. I like very talented. Melodies are amazing. It reminds me of UK, like UK kind of sounds like,
Okay.
but but they can get off on anything, and so I'm excited to see what they're gonna be cooking up. It's gonna be some new music. It'll probably end up on one of your Fresh Look episodes.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? Segments.
Ooh.
You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean?
Show for show. Well, all right, y'all. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll catch y'all next week.
Yeah.